Okay, back again, and this one's on editing. This is going to be fun because I'm not actually going to be editing live. I'm going to be recording this and then editing and splicing that footage together, so it's going to be fun to see if I can remember everything. Editing is going to be simple for you guys. It's not a huge deal. What I'd recommend first is to download some software. There are YouTube videos on how to download every software out there, so I'm not going to tell you how to do that. Go look it up. They can tell you better than I can. But there's a few things that I will recommend. Pro Tools first is a really good free program. Pro Tools is pretty much the premier audio editing software for all of podcasting and for most of audio work, aside from maybe music. But even then, it's really widely used with musicians. Pro Tools is very accurate. It looks much like it used to back before when everyone was doing analog line editing. And it's just quality content, quality software. So I recommend using that. You can also get it for like $5-6 a month, I think, something like that, with your student discount, which is like 50% off. So with all these softwares, if you want, you can get Adobe Audition. You can get Pro Tools for really cheap. And if you want to buy it for 2 months, feel free. But I understand that not everyone can afford to spend money on school, so I don't think I would have either back in the day. So if you don't want to do that, there's some free options. You can get free trials for stuff for a week or two if you want to try that. Pro Tools first you can have as long as you want, but you can only have 3 projects. So that means when you finish a recording and it's done and you've turned it in, save it to your computer, erase the project, and then you'll have more space, I believe. And worst case, you can use a few different programs. The one program that is completely free for as long as you want, that will be, I think, the default if you don't want to deal with all the other stuff, is Audacity. Audacity is a completely free program. It's really outdated. It's going to look like it was made in 2002, because it was, and it hasn't been updated since then, but it gets everything done. It has all full functionality, because again, it's a full audio editing program made to be free. So you can have as much projects as you want. Some drawbacks of it is, like, once you make an edit, it doesn't let you see that you made an edit. Like, there's no way to see that you cut something there. It just replaces the line to look like there was no edits. But other than that, there's some really good functionality. And so pretty much what you're going to want to do is download one of these programs, Audacity, Pro Tools, whatever. And most of the steps for all of these are the same. When you get into the program, you're going to want to make a project file. Click, 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 click. If you want to mess with the settings at all, I'd recommend having it at 44.1, and 24-bit is fine. 32 float is way too much, so you don't need to do 32 float. I'm not going to get into the details of what those things mean. That is for college audio classes if you care, but I'd recommend 44.1 and I'd recommend 24-bit. Otherwise, settings are fine as they are. So you want to make a project, however you need to do that. Some programs make you like literally name a project and create it and save it in a folder. Other ones like Audacity don't. But once you're in, you're going to want to go to File. You want to go to like Open or Import, I think is probably most of the time what you want to use. Click Import and find the file that you've sent to yourself from your iPhone. So you're going to want to take your iPhone, send that file you've recorded. Both of you should have recorded the file. You both send the files to whoever the editor is, to their email, to Google Drive or something. They'll download it. And then you're going to want to import it into the project. So you're going to take those audios, click Import, Import. I recommend having music too, so if you want to go online and find free music, you guys have license to use most songs. If you're using 30 seconds or less of any song, you can argue fair use, and fair use is not a law. As long as you're not making any money off this, it doesn't matter. If you are making money off of it, then it does matter, and you will probably get copyright striked if you're using a famous song. But you can use fair use because this is a student thing. It's educational. You're not making any money, so you can use 30 seconds and no one's gonna care. Not that they would anyways. But if you ever release anything, just know that you have to either ask the musician if you can use it. If it's a smaller musician, find stuff that's free online. You can look up like YouTube, like free to use or free to download. If any of you like freestyle rapping, I'm sure you're aware of the concept of what beats you can use or not. But that's kind of the concept there. So you want to import your audio files. You want to import your track, your partner's track, music if you have any. And you're going to use the same thing to do sound effects if you have any sound effects. If you want to add noises from YouTube, you can download them via like youtubedownloader.com, which will probably give you a virus. And then you'll do the same thing where you go to import audio, and then you'll import that audio. Once it's imported, it's going to be on the line as new tracks, or if you need to say new track, click new track. And then it'll show you your audio. It'll separate them all, and it'll give you all your audio. Audacity is kind of hard to edit multiple tracks in. You're going to have to do that very specifically, but that's why I recommend Pro Tools or like a free Audition. But what you want to do first is you want to line up the audio, and I'm going to make a note of this in the last video in case I forgot, which I think I might have. But you want to clap when you start doing your 3, 2, 1. You want 3, 2, 1, and you want to clap before you start recording, or like when the recording's going before you start the episode, because that clap is going to spike the audio. And with that audio spike, you're going to have very easy to line up where both of you are, because you might not have started recording at the same time. So if you didn't, it'll help to line it up. But generally, just listen and try to line up the audio. It's not super hard to do. It might just take you a minute or two the first time. Once it's lined up, cut it however you want. Some people like doing less cuts where there's like natural space. Some people like making it really tight. But cut out ums, uhs, cut out repetitions, cut out those kind of things to keep your line fresh and to keep everything sounding good. And edit with an audience ear in mind. Edit like you're not editing yourself. When you're editing, think, would I like to listen to this if it wasn't me? And so once you've finished cutting up all your mistakes and pauses, then what you're going to want to do is, if you'd like, you can throw some filters on it. I don't know if it's really worth it for you guys to do, because you're using phone audio. And phone audio isn't very good, so I'm not sure how much you're going to actually be able to clean it up well. You can use compressors and limiters. You can use expanders and gates. You can use different presets like that, vocal cleanup preset, things of that nature might help generally. Limiters and compressors tend to pretty much take the lowest and the highest ends of your audio and push them together so that it sounds more uniform. That might be nice. So if you have those on your program, you can use that. Expander gates kind of like cut off like clipped noises or like background and stuff like that, and so that might be nice as well. But again, that's not necessary, especially for your purposes. But just things to know if you're interested. And when you're finished editing, there's usually a bounce menu or an export as, and you got to export it as an MP3. You can export it as a WAV if you want, but it's going to be way larger of a file. So export it as an MP3. And again, if it's hard to explain this kind of stuff, it takes a long time, and I'm trying to make these succinct videos. So you can also go on YouTube and look up, how to export media on Audacity, how to import media on Audacity, if you forget or if I'm not explaining it well enough. But for the most part, again, it's really straightforward. You're going to record your audio, you're going to take it, import it into the software that you have open for audio editing, and then it's really just about exploring. So again, I recommend recording this first episode earlier so you get the chance to cut it together the way you want and mess around with Pro Tools or with whatever you're using. So, that's again kind of trial and error. I can't help with specific stuff because I don't know what issues you're going to run into. But if you run into an issue, there's tutorials everywhere online. And again, you can always reach out to me. I can help you with pretty much any editing issue you have. But that's very specific. So I'm giving you the broad strokes, and from there, you can kind of do what you like. So we will get back with maybe one more episode, maybe on just general concepts of recording and how to make the best project possible. Thanks.